in this lecture, we are going to look at fully developed laminar flow. In the previous part, we saw what does fully developed mean, what does laminar mean. Fully developed in this context means that the velocity profile that is flowing through a long pipe, of a sufficiently long pipe, is independent of z, the axial coordinate. It varies only with r, the radial distance. Laminar, and in this case purely axial flow, means the velocity is only along the axial direction. There is no radial flow, there is no fluid that is flowing along the radius, or there is no fluid that is flowing tangential or circular motion. So we have something that's flowing only in the z direction in a nice laminar fashion, and then we are also additionally consider the flow to be steady, incompressible, and the fluid flows with a the fluid has a constant viscosity that obeys Newton's law of viscosity, that is a linear relationship between the shear stress and the velocity gradient. So with these constraints or with these assumptions, these are our parameters. Whatever expression or analysis we are going to derive is going to be under these restrictions. So you should carefully remember them. Fully developed, laminar, steady, incompressible flow of a Newtonian fluid. We are going to develop expressions for the velocity profile. That is, we want to see that if Vz is the velocity along the z direction and it depends on r, we want to get an expression for that. And for the pressure drop, that is, if the fluid flows across a length, in the previous lecture we saw that there is a pressure drop because shear stress at the wall propagates inwards and steals kinetic energy from the flow, which causes the pressure to drop along the direction of the flow. And we are going to derive an expression for the pressure drop in terms of the quantities that we know from the flow. So in terms of the average velocity, the diameter, the length, and the viscosity of the fluid. So if I clear this picture and redraw it, I'm going to keep reminding myself that this is what I want to do. Okay. Okay, let me redraw this picture. I am interested in a pipe flow. I'll draw the axis. Okay, the pipe has a diameter d. Okay, pipe has a diameter d, and I am interested in the velocity profile, and I'll also consider that the fluid velocity profile which I want to derive, Vz of r. Okay, to do that I'll start by considering a fluid element, okay, a differential element whose radius is r, which is a variable, but the radius can vary between 0 to d by 2. This is r equals 0, this is r equals, d by 2 at the wall. Okay, so if I consider this fluid element, on this face of the element, if I consider that the pressure is P, the force acting on this element is P times pi r squared. The force acting on this element is P times pi r squared, and the force acting on this element is P minus delta P times pi r squared. That is, if the pressure is P here, I write the pressure here is P minus delta P, because I told you pressure always decreases along the direction of flow. I don't know how much it is, but I'll just say it decreased by delta P. Okay, and the reason it decreases is because there is shear stress acting along the curved surface of the cylinder. Remember that this is a cylinder, so the shear force or the viscous force or the frictional force, fluid frictional force, would be tau times 2 pi RL. Okay, so I have a fluid element, I have drawn the forces acting on the element, and now I want to do a force balance. Let's do a force balance on this fluid element axial or z direction. That is, I want to write sigma f along the z direction is 0. So look at the picture. This is the z direction. This is the r direction. Along the z direction I have from left to right, if I consider that to be positive, I have p times pi r squared minus this force here on the other face is pointing to the left. Whatever is pointing to the right is considered positive. So I have p minus delta p divided by pi r squared. And remember, it's not a rectangle, it's a cylinder. So I have the shear stress, which is also acting to the left, minus tau times 2 pi RL equals 0. So if I simplify this, I'm going to get delta P times pi r squared equals tau times 2 pi RL. So I can write delta P over L equals tau 2 tau over R. Now, what is on the left side here? On the left side I have the change in pressure over a length of piping of length L. Okay, the left side I'll write here delta P is the change in pressure over a length of pipe L. That is, if I consider this length to be L, this L could be small or large. What I am seeing is the change in pressure over the length equals 2 times tau over R. Now you can consider this delta P over L to be a constant. Like for example, if you think that if you have more length, you are going to have more pressure drop. Or if you have a piping section whose length you have predetermined and you have a pump here and then you have the ambient air here. The ambient is always at atmospheric pressure. The pump pressure you can set it at some high pressure. So P high minus P atmosphere is predetermined, and if you decide the length of piping, you can divide that by L, and this is going to be a constant that you can set outside of your experiment, outside of your fluid flow. This is something that you could control, meaning delta P over L is a quantity that is not related to the micro details of the flow. It is a quantity that is constant, and this constant delta P over L, okay, is called the pressure gradient or pressure drop per unit length. It is the pressure drop, pressure change per unit length. We don't say pressure change, we say pressure drop because we know always that the pressure drops, it never increases. So it's pressure change per unit length. Okay, and this quantity here is independent, it's a constant, we'll treat it as a constant. So what I have here is tau equals R over 2 times delta P over L. The shear stress at this surface depends on the radius multiplied by the pressure gradient. From here on, treat the pressure gradient like it's a constant because it's something you can set from outside of your experiment. It is something you could control. So if I were to take tau any section at any r, it is r over 2 times delta p over L. I'll take the special case when r equals d by 2, which corresponds to the wall of the pipe. In that case, I have tau equals d over 4 times delta p over L, and I will call this value of shear stress with a W. I'll call this the wall shear stress. It is the shear stress acting at the pipe wall, okay, at the pipe wall. So let's remember this, tau W equals d over 4 divided by d over 4 times delta p over L. Now we do have that tau from Newton's law of viscosity. Tau is equal to mu du over dr. This is Newton's law of viscosity. This is Newton's law of viscosity. So if we equate, I'll call this 1, I'll call this 2, I'll call this 3, equate 1 and 3, and what do you get if you do that? You get mu du dr equals r over 2 delta p over L. R over 2 delta p over L. That is, I am just equating what I get from force balance, and this is related to the fluid property. That is, this is the relationship between the velocity gradient that exists in a flow and the shear stress that is acting on the fluid. That is this relation. This was discovered by Newton through experiments. Okay, he measured the shear stress, he measured the velocity gradient, and found out that the ratio of the two, this quantity and this quantity, has a constant value for a given fluid, and that property is called viscosity. Okay, so I have this relation, and I have this to be true at the wall. Okay, I have this to be true at the wall. So what I am going to do now is, I am going to simply use this equation to integrate and solve for u. So I am going to take du over dr equals delta p over L, okay, and then I have r over 2 mu. I can separate the variables and integrate. I can write this as du equals times dr, okay, and I can integrate this between, I know the velocity at the wall, okay, at the wall the velocity is 0, okay, we call it no slip. There is no slip between the fluid and the wall. Whatever the wall's velocity is the same as the fluid's velocity. The wall happens to be at rest, so the fluid is also considered to be at rest. So at the pipe wall u is 0, r is equal to d over 2. At any other section you have r, so I will write 0, and then this is equal to r is equal to d over 2. Okay, at any other section we will call this Vz of r, and r is simply r. Okay, I have to integrate this in order to get my velocity profile. So if I do that, I have Vz of r equals delta p over L divided by 2 mu times r dr integrated from d by 2 to r. integrated from d by 2 to r, which is delta P over L 1 over 2 mu. This is r squared over 2. R squared minus d by 2 squared over 2. So what remains is for us to do some rearrangement to get the velocity profile in a form that is intuitive and easy to use. So one thing that I missed here is that since this is a shear stress that steals energy, we include the negative sign to denote that the shear stress is highest wherever du by dr, or the velocity, is the least. Okay, so if I do that, I left a negative sign here. So what I am going to get, I don't need this anymore. I'll just keep this equation because I'll need it. So I have Vz of r with a negative sign equals delta P over L times 1 over 4 mu times r squared minus d squared over 4, okay, which I'll rewrite as minus delta P over L 1 over 4 mu times d squared over 4 1 minus r squared 4d squared. This is equal to minus Vz over r. Since I have a negative sign on both sides, I can remove that. So the velocity profile, if you look at this, if I call d by 2 equals to the pipe radius, what I have is the velocity profile as a function of r is delta P over L 1 over 4 mu, let's say r squared over 4 mu times 1 minus r squared over r squared. This is the velocity profile in the pipe. If you substitute r equals the radius, you get 0. If you get r equals 0, the lowercase r equals 0, you get the maximum velocity. So I'm going to write Vz of r is equal to V naught, I'll write V center line times 1 minus r squared over r squared, where V center is equal to delta P over L times r squared divided by 4 mu. R squared divided by 4 mu. Okay, so that is the velocity profile. Just try to picture this profile. Here is your pipe, here is Z, here is R. The velocity is equal to V center when r equals 0, and the velocity equals 0 when r is equal to r. And in between, it varies as the second power of the radius, so we call it the parabolic velocity profile. Vz of r is parabolic. So we always refer to as the parabolic velocity profile as the fully developed laminar flow profile. Fully developed laminar pressure drop, to calculate the velocity profile as a function of the radius. Our other objective was to calculate what is the relationship between pressure drop and the remaining flow parameters. Okay. So before we do that, let's take our velocity profile and try to compute what is the flow rate, the volumetric flow rate through this pipe. If you know this is your velocity profile, that would be Vz of R times an area element over the pipe cross section, which is a circle. Okay. So you want to integrate this velocity profile over the entire cross section. That is your objective. So if you think of a circle, you can consider this area element in two ways. This is the differential of the area, which is equal to 2 pi r dr. That's the simplest way. If you understand differential calculus, it's the differential of the area. The other way is for you to consider two circles, one of radius r and another of radius r plus dr. dA is the area of the dashed area, which is dA is pi r plus dr whole squared minus pi r squared. This is, if you do the simplification, 2 pi r dr minus pi dr squared. We think that this radius r plus dr, this dr is such an incremental change. The second power of that increment is negligible. So we say that dA is approximately equal to 2 pi r dr. In either case, this area of cross section is 2 pi r dr integrated from r equals 0 to r. This is very important. The velocity profile integrated over the cross section area gets you the volumetric flow rate. So if you do that, we have our V center, we have 0 to r, V center times 2 pi r dr, and then I'll have to write first V center times 1 minus r squared over r squared times 2 pi r dr, integrated from 0 to r, which I can write 2 pi Vc times 0 to r 1 minus r squared over r squared r dr. R dr. So all I am doing here is integration. Okay, so I am writing Q, the volumetric flow rate, equals Vc times 2 pi, Vc times 2 pi, or 2 pi Vc